Our principal correspondent Siddharth MP is joining us live from outside Vijay's residence in Chennai. Siddharth, what do you see? What do you hear? How's the environment there and how is the emotions that is transmitting there?
So it's fairly calm outside Vijay's residence because this place has been turned into a fortress. There's heavy police presence in several streets and bylanes running to this eventual location. There is police deployment and very limited people are allowed. Party cadre and fans are not allowed strictly. So that is why things appear to be quite calm. But slowly people close to Vijay are trickling in. So one among them was actor Trisha, Vijay's close confidant and co-star of many films. So it's her birthday today and she offered prayers at the Tirupati Tirumala shrine this morning, and now she's here at Vijay's residence as well. So there are also other political leaders who are gradually trickling in to Vijay's residence, but so far we've not heard anything about a potential alliance or anything of that sort. But as it stands, Vijay's party, Election Commission data shows, is leading in 110 seats. They're just 8 seats short of the magic number, that is 118 in Tamil Nadu. So this in fact is a spectacular performance. Vijay has ripped apart all the predictions, in fact all but one prediction, because everybody else said it's going to be a DMK return. They said DMK may scrape through, some said ADMK may return, but Vijay has literally ripped all those predictions to shreds, and he has emerged as a dark horse in this race. So this is incredible what he's done, because many of us had frankly written off Vijay as somebody who would only make a difference in small pockets, or perhaps might not be able to do as well as he expects. But now what he's done, he's re-scripted the state's political landscape itself, and he's done it in cinema style in just 2 years. If he can do this, remember that conventionally politicians in India are well above the age of 60. Vijay is barely 51 years of age, so he has a long road ahead of him. So talk about the potential also. Vijay is barely aged 51, and given the long horizon ahead of him, he has a bright political future. If he can do this on debut, if he can, govern well over the next 5 years, deliver on everything he's promised, and carry on the same way, then I think we're looking at a long-term disruption, not just a one-pole phenomenon, but a long-term disruption of the state's political landscape, the state's political culture. And of course, for the last 60 years, we've seen those from actors and those from theatre, getting into politics, making a huge impact and so on. But this is a different story altogether. You can credit it to social media, you can credit it to the cult appeal that Vijay has, you can also credit it to the kind of campaign that he's done, because many were commenting that many analysts were saying that Vijay has not outlined a clear ideology, Vijay has not outlined clear policies. He's been talking about welfare measures, he's been talking about broad aspects of governance like drug-free Tamil Nadu, women's safety, maintaining law and order. Again, generic statements, nothing specific on policies. In fact, he was under fire for opposing a second airport project that would require some agricultural land to be taken over. So all of this was there, but at the same time, he's been able to get the numbers on his side, and now the ball is in Vijay's court. We'll have to see what would be his next move.
You're right, Siddharth. The ball is definitely in Vijay's court. You say the party is just 8 seats short of the magic number, and this happened in a cinematic style, as you just said. I would like to know, what is your perspective? Is this the biggest political disruption in Tamil Nadu after the Dravidian movement?
Absolutely, there's no doubts about it. This is absolutely the biggest ever and the most unexpected kind of disruption in the state's political landscape and in Tamil Nadu's history itself, because in 1967 the Congress was sent out of power. The people voted out the Congress party, and it was also marking a beginning of a new era where regional parties were emerging in the political fray, and then they were taking charge of states. So the DMK's emergence into power in the year 1967 was seen as a landmark moment in the state's political history, and then on there's been no looking back. Thereafter, in 1977 it was the AIDMK that stormed into power, and now we have a disruptor who's just changed it in a single election. Just 2 years in, he's changed the entire landscape. So having done this is obviously a major milestone in the state's political history itself. It's a turning point, to use cinema language. It is indeed a turning point, and we'll have to see how things pan out from here, because this is an actor that until 2 years ago people just saw as an actor, and he had a sort of cult following, no two ways about it, because if you looked at the kind of anticipation that his films had, if you looked at the kind of celebration for his film's release, irrespective of what the critics said about the film, it would rake in money, and this is the kind of impact that Vijay has had as an actor. And this is not just over the last decade, but he's consistently built this up over 3+ decades, and now age 51 he's been able to pull this off. And what we have to wait and see is the years ahead and the decades ahead, because he's tasted success very early on as far as the mean age of politicians go in this country. So he's tasted success very early on, and he's no conventional politician. He's not from a traditional background. Politics or political science is not his forte. He's come from a different background. So how he'll navigate what lay ahead is a very interesting story to track and follow.
You're right, Siddharth. What lays ahead is indeed very interesting. But I would also like to know, since we're getting very close to the final results, what would happen next? Is this a moment when other alliances will be formed? Who do you think will align with TVK, and what would be the future of Tamil Nadu be like?
If I were to just make a guess purely based on speculation, Vijay might stay away from the large establishment giants like the ADMK or the DMK, purely because these are the parties he wanted to replace. He's been comparing both of them and saying they're all the same, and he's been positioning himself as an alternative, right? And one thing that one has to emphasize is that throughout the campaign there were many murmurs from within the Congress party. For perspective, Congress is an ally of the ruling DMK in Tamil Nadu, and they've been expressing very clearly that they would like to ally with the DMK. This is just some section of the Congress, just some leaders. You could say this is just a fringe of the Congress. They've been saying that there's a potential for allying with Vijay and so on. But eventually the Congress did go with its legacy and track record of going with the DMK in Tamil Nadu, because they've been long-standing allies for decades. UPA 1, UPA 2, and even in the state elections, parliamentary elections, that even in recent decades we've seen the India alliance take shape, right? So that coalition, they've always respected that, and they've gone with the DMK. But if the Congress manages to get 4 or 5 seats, which the trends point to right now, then there's a possibility that the Congress itself might consider, tying up with Vijay, because this is something that has to be closely watched. Because even in the past, Vijay has also referenced about Congress, and Vijay's father once talked about Congress and said that, this was a party that once ruled the country. They fought for our independence, but now in Tamil Nadu they've been reduced to virtually nothing. They're just piggybacking on the DMK. They don't have a share in power. So this was the kind of language that Vijay's father, though not a politician, he spoke about Congress. And even during his campaign, Vijay had mentioned that specifically the Congress supporters, traditional Congress voters, are also with his own party. So Vijay has been signaling, even directly through speeches and through his family members, that there is a potential for some sort of tie up with the Congress. This is what we've seen in the past. So if it's only a few number of seats that he needs, then certainly he might ally with somebody that might not pose a threat to him in future, and a party with only minimal number of seats. If he were to partner with somebody with a large number of seats, then perhaps he might smell danger in that. And so only based on that, I'm just making an intelligent and a wild guess that it might be some of the smaller parties he might seek the support of, because that's the number he needs. He just needs about a handful of numbers, less than 10 or something, going by the present trend. So if that's the case, he might tie up with some of the smaller parties, maybe give them a minor share in power, or give them something that they otherwise might not get in their present alliance. So these are some of the possibilities that we can just wildly guess.
Siddharth, indeed, this is a new dawn for Tamil Nadu state politics. But I'd also like to know, what is the condition right now in the alliance, DMK, AIADMK alliance? Does Vijay's lead actually mark the end of this alliance, and what are you getting from that front?
No, certainly it's too early to comment, because we'll have to see what Congress thinks about continuing in the DMK alliance. That's the most important thing. And given the way the Congress works, it's a high command decision, which means the decision would be at the level of Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi, and of course the Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge himself. So these are the core decision makers. As for the Congress party, the decisions are never made here in Tamil Nadu. So the decisions are Delhi decisions, or high command decisions in the language of the Congress party. So we'll have to wait and see how they react to this, and whether there is any direct contact between perhaps Rahul Gandhi and Vijay on forging an alliance in Tamil Nadu. Because in Kerala the Congress has swept, in Karnataka the Congress has a government, in Telangana, the Congress as a government. So this indicates that the Congress is growing in the south. The Congress is sort of seeing a resurgence down south. So that might be a factor that perhaps could attract Vijay, and perhaps they also share common values and common principles. So that might be one of the ways in which the wind could blow as far as TVK is concerned. But we'll have to wait and watch, because perhaps by evening, if TVK manages to get a majority on their own, then they don't have to worry about any of this. And that's like a dream. If a debutant politician gets a single majority, then nothing like it. Then it's his own decisions and it's his own thought process that can be implemented as decisions. And given that everything he's done so far has reaped him such kind of rewards, then I think he would go with his intuition and what people advise him.
Siddharth, earlier you did highlight that TVK did not outline a single ideology. There were scattered ideologies. But what could have worked here? Because ultimately there's a lead. And the main question of the hour is TVK just ready to win, or is it ready to govern now?
So obviously they'll have to, get the numbers before they're ready to govern. So we'll have to wait and see how much soon they can, get past the 118 magic number. They're about a handful of it below that number. So we'll have to wait and see whether they can gather that lead and then manage to edge out its opponents and win in all of these seats, that is 108 plus seats. Then I think the govern part comes in. So that we have to wait and watch. But as for what worked in favor, perhaps one of the lesser spoken of aspects is the fatigue with the Dravidian parties. So it's always been said that Tamil Nadu is a Dravidian fortress since 1967. It's only the DMK or ADMK that have come to power. The national parties like BJP and Congress have been relegated to the sidelines or are mere small shoots of grass in a larger play field, right? So that's what these national parties, so-called national parties, have been reduced to in the state's political landscape. But again, having had only two options for more than 50-60 years would mean that the people here also have endured considerable fatigue with only both these parties. And the people here are smart, they're intelligent, they know that there's been multiple cases of corruption that have been proven in court. There's been allegations and counter-allegations of massive sums of corruption against leaders from both the established Dravidian parties, DMK, ADMK. So this is all in open domain and people are smart enough to understand. And Vijay has also used this. So, he's spoken about the corruption aspect and said that I promise you I will not take a single rupee of government funds and I don't need it. So obviously Vijay is a self-made billionaire, though his father was a film director. Vijay's own career, he's been able to reach this heights purely because of his own talent. While he did foray in because of who his father was, after a point it was purely his own rise and he's risen to this level now in politics as well. So the fact remains that he also campaigned on the corruption aspect and said, look, I am somebody who wants to come and repay the debt that a debt of gratitude to all of you, because over the decades you've let me grow, you've let me prosper, you've let me flourish. I just want to express my thanks to you. I want to return the favor to the people of Tamil Nadu. I want to serve the people of the state. Please give me a chance. That was his appeal. And he said, rest assured, I'm not going to swindle money like the mainstream parties. I don't need your money. I don't need public money. So these were the kind of emotional appeals that he was making. Perhaps that worked out among the youth, among those that are disillusioned. And let's also tell you that this is the social media impact. This is the impact of young voters. In fact, in many places, there were children who have been so enamored by Vijay's campaigning that they told their parents and the adults in their household and in their inner circle to vote for Vijay, or that they won't speak to the parents or the elders in the house. So this is the kind of influence that he's been able to exert through various means. So it's, and a phenomenon that is a little bit hard to explain, that Vijay has been able to storm to power like this, disrupting two giants of the Dravidian movement. And now he himself has an identity for himself.
All right. Thank you, Siddharth, for getting us the latest as you stand outside Vijay's residence right there in Tamil Nadu. Thank you for getting us. We'll get back to you soon.